Hey everyone, Derek here with a quick news update on the Nintendo Switch that is rumored to report exactly what the GPU and CPU clock speeds are in the Switch. And there's a lot of tech speak in here, and I will be the first to admit that I don't understand half of this stuff. But I'm going to put the details out there for you guys so you can determine what it's like, and I'll give my basic thoughts on exactly what this entails. So basically what it all comes down to is that the Switch is going to have consistent CPU power. The cores run at 1020 MHz regardless of whether the machine is docked or undocked. This ensures that running game logic won't be compromised while gaming on the go, and the game itself should remain consistent. The machine is embedded with a memory controller running at 1600 MHz while docked, on par with the standard Tegra X1, which is the chip being used in the Switch. But the default power mode when undocked sees this drop to 1331 MHz. However, developers are able to retain full memory bandwidth in their titles should they choose to do so. So it doesn't seem like that's as big of a deal. Everything seems pretty consistent between docked and undocked, and developers can choose to lower it for docked so it's more consistent when it's undocked. So interesting nonetheless, but here's where things get a little hairy as far as people worrying about specs. The CPU clocks are halved compared to the standard Tegra X1, but the GPU clock speed is much lower than people were expecting, especially given the technology being used. So even while docked, the Switch doesn't run at Tegra X1's full potential. The clock speeds are locked at 768 MHz, which is definitely lower than the 1 GHz found in the Nvidia Shield. But the big surprise from Eurogamer's perspective was the extent of which Nintendo has downclocked the GPU to hit its thermal and battery life targets, and that speed is 307.2 MHz, meaning that in portable mode, Switch runs at exactly 40% of the clock speed of the fully docked device. So essentially, games could become kind of hobbled if they are not docked and not run nearly as well. So as things stand, a docked Switch features a GPU with 2.5 times the power of the same unit running from the battery. And Eurogamer goes much more into depth into this and really lays it out and tries to make it manageable, but I'm incapable of summarizing this any better than I have. I am not a tech guy, I don't fully understand this, and while I do understand that the GPU being that much slower than everything else can be an issue, I also see it as, well, people want a long battery life, people don't want it to run hot, sacrifices have to be made. This is not going to be a miracle machine. The Switch is not going to be more powerful than the PS4, and it's not going to have a super long battery life to last however long you want, and it's not going to run super cool despite having all this super high-tech tech inside. It just wasn't going to happen. Now, how much this hobbles the machine as far as gameplay, that's what I care about. What are we looking at? How difficult does this make it for the developers? What kind of games are we going to get based on this? How are they going to play? Is it worth making it portable? Those are the questions I have, and while this lays another piece of the puzzle of the Switch, it also doesn't take into account games taking advantage of what the system can do. We've seen Breath of the Wild. We've seen it run better than a Wii U. Even Eurogamer themselves say that even in undocked mode, Switch is more powerful than the Wii U. And we've already seen that once again with Breath of the Wild on Jimmy Fallon and how smooth Breath of the Wild ran on the Switch. Taking that into account, it might not be able to handle the high-end games of other systems, but it can still put out a game that looks great and potentially run well. Are there caveats? Definitely. Is it going to be perfect? God, no. But I'm still of the opinion that we need to wait and see exactly what this means and not flip out that, oh god, Nintendo is doomed because they're not as powerful as Sony and Microsoft. That's been the case for years. As long as what they say works and the games are not affected in any major way that I can personally notice, I'm okay with this. Granted, it's not ideal, but we'll see what comes of it. We've already heard about multiple third-party developers looking into whether the Switch can handle their games. So we'll see exactly what happens, and if you want to read the full article, we'll have a link in the description below. But thank you guys for watching, and of course, stay tuned to Game Explained for more on the Switch and other things gaming too. Till next time, bye.